Hey guys, I'm Sarah. That is Conehead Rue over there. Rufus, stop flashing the camera. She is struggling with a hot spot right now. She has struggled with those her whole life, so she's lived about 99% of her life in a cone. You guys just haven't seen it on camera yet. And we got a soft cone for the van because the hard one wasn't working. She was just running into everything. We've seen the vet about it many times before. We have topical solutions and everything for it. So I'm not too worried about it. This is kind of the norm for her. Per your guys' request, I am here to share what it's like living in a van as a healthcare traveler. I'm a travel CT tech. I work 3 12-hour shifts starting tomorrow. I kind of just wanted to show you guys my daily chores that I do in order to prep for my first day of work. I lived in an Airstream prior to my van, so I did the same thing, but obviously there are a lot of differences when I'm driving my home everywhere versus towing it and parking it at a designated site. So stay tuned and I'll show you everything that I've done today, and I'll take you with me for tomorrow. I have lived in my van for 6 months now. I am currently working in upstate New York, and that is where I have been for the last 3 months. This is my first contract in the van, so it's been totally different than living in the Airstream. There have definitely been a lot of perks and a lot of disadvantages to it. Now that I only have 1 week left of work here, which makes me actually really sad, I have enjoyed it here much more than I expected. I finally feel well-rounded in the area of living in a van as a traveler, and I finally feel comfortable sharing what it was like. When I was initially looking for a contract, I avoided big cities. I would scope out the hospital on Google Maps in order to look at the parking lots and make sure that they have accessible parking for my van. Since it is 22 feet, I can't fit in a normal parking spot. I normally have to back in or take up 2 spots. As soon as I landed a contract, I went on a website that I also used when I was living in the Airstream. It is for healthcare travelers to find furnished housing while on assignment. A lot of you probably know what this website is if you're a healthcare traveler. I would go on there and submit a housing request, and I just said, hey, I live in a van full time. I'm looking for a driveway or a property to park on with access to electricity and water, and access to a washer and dryer would be an amazing perk as well. I ended up getting about 6 responses from people, so I basically told all of them that I would show up to the town a week early and scope out each of their properties, meet them in person, talk about a price, and that's exactly what I did. After meeting everyone, I narrowed it down to I think 2 that I really liked, and I ended up staying where I am right now. I've been here for the duration of my contract. I have really loved it here. It's a quiet, safe neighborhood. The landlord is a single woman in her 60s with 2 dogs, and I just feel so safe here, and I've really enjoyed my stay. I have access to electricity, water, and a washer and dryer, and I can tell you it is way cheaper than a campground. A lot of you are probably wondering why I didn't choose to just sleep in the hospital parking lot. That is a valid question because that was my original plan. But the more I thought about it, I figured I didn't want to sleep there on my days off since I only work 3 days a week. And I didn't want to constantly be looking for water to fill on, which is easier than finding a place to charge. I have to charge my batteries about once a week if I'm not driving very often. So it's been really nice being able to come here and charge my battery, fill my water whenever I need it, do my laundry whenever I need it, and I sleep really well here. I sleep much better in a quiet, safe neighborhood than I would in a parking lot, especially because I'm not just passing through this town, I'm staying here for 3 months. I didn't necessarily want to be switching up, sleeping in different parking lots every night and having the locals catch on to me. I just didn't want to feel like a nuisance, and I really am so glad I decided to stay on someone's property instead. As far as dog care goes, a lot of you have been asking me what I do with Rue while I'm working my 12-hour shifts. Now, when I lived in the Airstream, I would leave her in there and hire a dog walker to come to the Airstream and walk her in the middle of the day. That's not necessarily an option with the van. My original plan was to keep her in the van in the hospital parking lot while I was working and then walk her on my breaks. But since I got these super long 12-hour shifts for this specific gig, sometimes they're 10s, sometimes they're 8s, but for 12 hours and only a 30-minute walk during the day, I just felt so guilty doing that to her. So as soon as I signed my contract, I immediately reached out to like 5 or 6 different sitters on rover.com. That is how I found all of my sitters, especially when I lived in the Airstream. Since I work until 11 o'clock at night, I actually chose to leave her overnight for those 3 days. I do miss her a lot during those days, but it just doesn't make too much sense to pick her up past 11 o'clock at night and drop her off super early again in the morning. I think it's nice for her to be able to stay there those 3 days and have a somewhat consistent schedule. And then on my days off, we have gone on so many amazing adventures. I cannot describe to you how much I have done in the Northeast and how much fun we have had. We went to Acadia National Park. We obviously went to New Hampshire. We did a road trip through Vermont. We've been up to Lake Placid. We've been down to Woodstock. We've gone to so many different places in this area and all throughout the Northeast. I think Rue is honestly living her best life. The sitter that I found is only 5 minutes from the hospital. I get updates all day, I get photos, and I will bring you guys along when I drop her off there tomorrow. So let's go through everything I've done today to prep for my 3-day work stretch. The first thing we did this morning is we went to Petco to pick up some food for Rue, and I took out the trash. Then we went to get an oil change. Typically, I go to the Ford dealership to get this done. It's pretty easy. You don't have to make an appointment, and they always let me sit in the waiting room with Rue. But since she is in the cone of shame right now and she has a hot spot, I didn't really want her sitting in a public waiting room. So I called the instant oil change places to see if we could just sit in the van while they do it. The first place I called was Valvoline. Their bay height was only 9 feet. So we ended up going to Jiffy Lube, which had, I don't know how high it was, but it could definitely accommodate my van. And Rue ended up getting so much attention, all of the love. We got to chill in the van the whole time, and then we got a super great discount because that always seems to happen when I bring Rue to get an oil change. Then I stopped at a Stewart's to fill up my gas tank, and I couldn't resist going in to get one of their breakfast sandwiches. Then we got back to our little home base for the time being, and I let Rue run around the backyard and threw the ball with her for a little bit. I went back to the van and gathered up some laundry. I already washed all of my clothes yesterday, so today I only had to do my bed sheets, but since you guys have been wondering where I keep my clothes, I'll show you. So that is where I keep all of my pants and shorts. This is where I keep socks, underwear, bras, scrubs, pillowcases, and t-shirts. And then all of my shirts are down in the drawer. So I have 4 of these little organizers that I basically just roll up my shirts and put them in. I also keep some sweaters below these. There's 4 of them total. And I also keep some sweaters and jackets in the overhead compartment over my driver and passenger seat. A little van life hack, I've been using these little detergent sheets that I found online, and they save so much space in the van versus the pods or a big jug of laundry detergent. After starting the laundry, I went ahead and filled up my freshwater tank. In order to do that, I use the water spigot on the front of her house, and luckily I have a 50-foot hose so it can easily accommodate. Although it's been dropping into the 20s during the night for the last few nights, it has gotten up to the 40s during the day, so I haven't had an issue with any of the water spigots freezing yet. My fresh tank is 40 gallons, so I typically only have to fill it about once a week if I'm showering every other day. I can watch this and wait until it's almost full, and then I'll go stop the water. As far as the gray, I dumped it at a gas station yesterday, so I won't be showing that, but I only have to dump that about once a week as well. I love my hose because it's super flexible and I can store it pretty much anywhere. It's by 0G and I had it in the Airstream as well. I already charged my batteries yesterday, so they're full and I don't need to worry about charging them today, but if I needed to, I could whip out my power cord. I basically just use a 30 amp adapter attached to a 12 gauge cord, and I can plug it into any outdoor outlet. My batteries are 5 kilowatt hours, and since I'm not having to run the air conditioning and the heater barely draws any power, I haven't had to charge very often at all. I would say I only charge about once a week. My biggest power draws right now are my electric blanket that I sleep with at night and the microwave and hot water heater. Those are my biggest draws. As far as filtering my water, there's a filter built into the plumbing system, and then for my drinking water, I use a zero water filter on top of that. I am a total water snob, and I can tell you that this thing works amazing and I never have to buy any bottled water. After filling my tank, I went ahead and got ready to take a shower. So before I shower, I like to always keep the door open. That way I can run the heat a little bit and warm it up in that area. And then in order to turn my hot water heater on, that is a little switch right here that we installed, so that way it doesn't turn on every time I run my inverter. And then you can see it just jumped up, and it'll take about 20 minutes to heat up my water. I have a 5-gallon Bosch water heater that runs off of electricity, and I have an S-bar heater that runs off of the gas tank. I absolutely love this heater. Oh, it's turning on right now. You can see the lights flickering. But it barely draws any electricity. I can actually show you right now how much it's drawing. Let's see. It just kicked on. Look, it was like the tiniest little jump. Thanks, S-Bar. It knew I was talking about it. So yeah, it runs off of fuel versus propane, which is life-changing compared to when I lived in the Airstream in Washington in the wintertime. I had to get my propane refilled constantly, and it was a pain in the butt. So this is like a dream compared. Van life has honestly been so much more enjoyable now that the weather is getting cooler versus being in a very hot van during the summertime. That was not fun. This is much more preferred. And the van is very well insulated, so I sleep like a baby at night. It stays nice and warm in here, even though it's in the 20s outside. And like I said, I use my electric blanket at night, which keeps me nice and toasty as well. So to prep my shower for showering, take the toilet paper out, take the trash bags out because that's just where I chose to store them. And then I have a little bath mat that I put right there. And of course, take the towel out so that doesn't get all wet. And then I should be ready to go. I use this switch to turn the water on and off during my shower in order to conserve water. I never have it constantly running. So this is as high as the water pressure goes. It's honestly kind of just like a mist, but it saves a ton of water. Once my shower is done, I use this squeegee to do all of the walls and my mirror. Luckily, I'm parked at an angle, so everything is pretty much draining into the drain, and whatever's left will drain as I'm driving. Today is a special occasion. I'm going to a concert. I'm going to see a band that I've been listening to for almost 10 years. And I've never seen them live, so it's super exciting. My inverter is something crazy like 3,000 watts, so I have no issue running a hairdryer. I just choose not to most of the time in order to conserve power. How's the back look? So that brings us to now. I am about to head down to Albany to go to this concert. I am a little worried about parking, but I'm sure I will find something that can accommodate the van. So I'm gonna head down early, and I'm also going to try to stop at a grocery store on the way because I need food for the next 3 days. All right, let's go. I absolutely did not have enough time to go to the grocery store, so that will be a morning chore. I found this parking lot that I had to pay to get into. It was like $15, which is kind of a lot, but it's way better than street parking because I parked like right under a lamppost and there's security and there's gates, so I just feel a lot more comfortable with this than the street. Rue immediately hopped into bed because she knows the drill. Yeah, little Miss Conehead. I have her white noise machine on for her. It's nice and zen. I'll be back soon, okay? Love you, bug. Mwah. In case you haven't seen in my previous videos, I can watch her on my Simply Safe camera, and I do that. I will check in many times while I'm at the concert. Oh, it's an egg. You wanna go outside? Go potty? So I just made it back to my little driveway spot. I'm so happy. I'm gonna get ready for bed. Like I said, I didn't have time to go grocery shopping, so yeah, we're gonna do that in the morning. Maybe, probably not. I'm just gonna buy food at the hospital, honestly. I will prep some overnight oats though. Okay, now I'm just going to wash my face, brush my teeth, and hit the hay. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning. I slept like a baby. I'm still stoked on last night. I have about an hour until I have to leave and drop Rue off at the sitter. So I'm gonna get up, get ready, make some coffee. And start this beautiful day. The van stayed nice and toasty last night, and my heated blanket is keeping me warm, so I don't really want to get up, but gotta do what you gotta do. Girls gotta pay bills. Yeah. Good girl. Good job.
You ready? Oh, good stretch. Good stretch.
All right, so I'm obviously going to take Rue for a quick walk, and then we will head to the sitter. That's honestly one of the biggest perks about parking in a neighborhood is I actually get to walk her in a safe neighborhood, and I love it. So before I hit the road, I just make sure everything is latched shut. All the drawers are closed. All right, we're all good. Rue, are you ready? Come on, hop up. And then I close the door. Let's get your bag. Hi, how's it going? Oh, Rue. So excited? Come here. Hi. I'm gonna try my absolute best not to be late for work today. It is now 10:19 and my shift starts at 10:30, so I'm gonna have to hustle when I get to the parking lot, but luckily the sitter only lives 5 minutes from the hospital. So I really love that I have to badge in, and the parking lot that I park in is gated, so it feels nice and secure, and there's plenty of spots that are big enough for my van. Right, I have arrived. It is 10:23. So I'm just gonna get my breakfast and a few other things, and then I'll be ready to go. I will pretty often actually get dressed and get ready in the parking lot, which I absolutely love. I can just drop Rue off in my pajamas and then get ready once I get here, but I wanted to be put together for you guys today. And I like to make sure that everything is secure and ready to go so that when I jump in my car at 11 o'clock at night, I don't have to come back here and make sure everything's secure. This way I can just hop in the driver's seat and go. So I'm just locking it, putting on the alarm, and then I'm good to go. It's kind of like in the back of the lot, all by itself. Clocked in at 10:29. Pretty impressed with myself. Been up for 3 days. It's lunchtime at 5 p.m. because that is my life. I'm walking to the van to go eat lunch because it is just gorgeous outside, and I wanted to get out of my little radiology dungeon. Ah! Hello, my beautiful little home. Since I can't film too much inside of the hospital, I'm just gonna tell you guys what I do. I am a CAT scan tech. I do CT scans. A lot of people think I am a travel nurse, but you can really travel doing almost anything in healthcare, which is pretty amazing. CT techs are very high in demand. So basically I get to run the scanner all day, and this is kind of a medium-sized hospital, but we are very busy. We mainly run off of one scanner. I have definitely put my work into this job, but like I said, only one more week, which is so crazy. It's been overall a very good gig. Everyone's been very kind and just a very welcoming place to work. Thanks again. Hi, beautiful. I made it to 11 o'clock. And now it's time to go home. And I'm here. I am feeling more exhausted than normal. 12 hours is a long day, but I think it's worth it for having 4 days off a week, if you ask me. So now I'm just gonna go drive back to my little driveway spot and basically rinse and repeat. I'm gonna get ready for bed, go to bed, wake up, do it all over again. So that pretty much wraps up my video about a day in the life as a healthcare traveler living in a van If you guys have any questions or if I left out any details, let me know in the comments below. I will get back to you as soon as possible. There's definitely a lot of pros and cons when it comes to living in the van while on assignment. The biggest one is it hasn't been very easy with Rue. I don't like having to be without her for half of the week. I really just want what's best for her. I'm going home to Florida for a couple months, and that is where I will kind of reevaluate and see what I want to do moving forward. And that is the beauty of being a traveler. The future will work out the way that it's supposed to, and I trust the process. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you guys next time.